Good morning, children. Today we'll move to the first unit in history. The topic is Advent of the Europeans. We'll see the learning objectives now. To know about the kinds of sources of modern India, to understand the Portuguese trade interest in India, to understand the impact of Portuguese and Dutch presence in India, the colonial settlements of Denmark, arrival and settlement of English French East India companies. Now we'll see the introduction part. Many of the foreign travelers, traders, missionaries and civil servants who came to India in the 18th and 19th centuries have left account of their experiences and their impressions of various parts of the country. To know the events of modern period, we have abundant sources at the international, national and regional level. So many of the foreign travelers, traders have came to India. Okay, and we are having many sources. Abundant means lots of sources at the international, national and regional level. We'll move to the next topic, that is sources of modern India. The sources for the history of modern India help us to know the political, socio-economic and cultural developments in the country. From the very beginning, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, the Danes and the English recorded their official transaction in India on state papers. Well-preserved records are very valuable to know about their relations in India. So through the sources of this modern India, we came to know about the cultural developments in our country. So these are all the European peoples who came to India, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, the Danes and the English people. So we can know the official transaction of these people to India by the state papers. Well-preserved records are very valuable to know about their relations in India. The archives at Lisbon, Goa, Pondicherry and Madras were literally store houses of precious historical informations. All these sources must, however, be critically evaluated before they are used for historical writing. So, at Lisbon, Goa, Pondicherry and Madras. So, this consists of many archives. Archives is nothing but informations about the historical events. These sources are critically evaluated. So, நிறைய வாட்டி அவங்க வந்து செக் பண்ணி தான் அந்த ஹிஸ்டாரிக்கல் ஈவெண்ட்ஸை எழுதுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி நிறைய வாட்டி அவங்க அதை செக் பண்ணி தான் எழுதியிருப்பாங்க. Kinds of sources. We can write history with the help of sources like written sources and material sources. So, we can write the history through these two sources, that is written sources and material sources. We'll see about the written sources now. After the advent of the printing press, numerous books were published in different languages. So after the invention of printing press, many books were published in different languages. Hence people began to acquire knowledge easily in the fields like art, literature, history and science. Through this people can know about these fields. The European came to know about the immense wealth of India from the accounts of Marco Polo and similar sources. So, Europeans came to know about the wealth of India through these two peoples, that is, through these Marco Polo and the similar sources. The wealth of India attracted Europeans to this country. So, நம்ம நாட்டோட வளம் என்ன பண்ணிருக்கு, அவங்கள இங்க வர்றதுக்கு attract பண்ணிருக்கு. Anandarangan is a name to conjure with the annals of Tamil history. He was a Dubash. He is nothing but a translator. So he is a translator in Pondicherry to assist French trade in India. He recorded the events that took place in French India. His diaries contains the daily events from 1736 to 1760, which are the only written secular record available during that period. His diaries reveal his profound capacity for political judgment and is a most valuable source of history. Written sources include literatures, travel accounts, diaries, autobiography, pamphlets, government documents, and manuscripts. So Anandarangan is a person to record all the events which took place in French India. So the events from 1736 to 1760. Okay, so few written sources are given here. Archives. This is the place where historical documents are preserved. The National Archives of India, that is NAI, is located in New Delhi. It is the chief storehouse of the records of the government of India. It has the source of information for understanding past administrative machinery as well as a guide to present and future generations related to all matters. It contains authentic evidence for knowing the political, social, economic, cultural and scientific life and activities of the people of India. It is one of the largest archives in Asia. ஸோ அர்ச்சீவ்ஸ் அப்படின்றது ஒரு பிளேஸ், அங்கே தான் ஹிஸ்டாரிக்கல் டாக்குமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வச்சுருக்காங்க. ஸோ அதை வச்சு தான் நம்ம வந்து பாஸ்ட் இந்தியா, அதாவது நம்மளுக்கு முன்னாடி என்னென்ன நடந்தது, அதை வச்சு நம்ம ஃப்யூச்சருக்கு என்னென்ன கைட் பண்ணிக்கலாம் அப்படின்றதுக்காக நம்மளுக்கு அது யூஸ் ஆகுது. ஸோ இட் இஸ் ஒன் ஆஃப் த லார்ஜஸ்ட் அர்ச்சீவ்ஸ் இன் ஏஷியா. Tamil Nadu Archives. The Madras Record Office, presently known as Tamil Nadu Archives, that is TNA, is located in Chennai. It is one of the oldest and largest document repositories in South India. The most of the records in Tamil Nadu Archives are in English. The collections include series of administrative records in Dutch, Danish, Persian and Marathi. Few documents are in French, Portuguese, Tamil and Urdu. So Madras Record Office, அது எங்க இருக்கு? சென்னையில் இருக்கு. It is one of the oldest and largest document repositories in South India. And also, so most of the records அது எப்படி இருக்கு அப்படின்னா, most of the records வந்து இங்கிலீஷில் தான் இருக்கு. And few எப்படி இருக்கு அப்படின்னா French, Portuguese, Tamil and Urduல இருக்கு. So this is Tamil Nadu Archives building. Tamil Nadu Archives has 1642 volumes of Dutch records which relate to Cochin and Coromandel Coast. These records cover the period from 1657 to 1845. The Danian records cover the period from 1777 to 1845. The Dodwell prepared the great effort and the first issue of the Calendar of Madras Records was published in 1917. He was highly interested in encouraging historical researchers. He opened a new chapter in the history of Tamil Nadu Archives. ஸோ தமிழ்நாடு அர்ச்சீவ்ஸில் 1642 வால்யூம்ஸ் இருக்குது. அந்த ரெக்கார்ட்ஸில் வந்து 1657 to 85 அப்படின்ற பீரியடில் வந்து டச்சோட ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ் இருக்குது. டேனியனோட ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ் வந்து 1777 to 1845 இருக்குது. அண்ட் ஆல்சோ டாட்வெல் அப்படின்றவர் தான் கேலண்டர் ஆஃப் மெட்ராஸ் ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ் அப்படின்றத ஃபஸ்ட்டு பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. எப்போ 1917. அண்ட் ஹீ இஸ் ஹைலி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டட் இன் என்கரேஜிங் தி ஹிஸ்டாரிக்கல் ரிசர்ச்சர்ஸ். So we saw about the written sources. Now we'll see the material sources. ஸோ இது வரைக்கும் எழுத்து வச்சு நம்ம வந்து ஹிஸ்ட்ரி எப்படி நம்ம தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம் அப்படின்றது, எழுத்து மூலியமாக உள்ள டாக்குமெண்ட்ஸ் வச்சு எப்படி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம்னு பார்த்துட்டோம். இப்போ வந்து மெட்டீரியல் சோர்சஸ், அதாவது பில்டிங்ஸ் வச்சு நம்ம எப்படி வந்து ஹிஸ்ட்ரி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம் அப்படின்னு பார்க்குறோம். Many paintings and statues are the main sources of modern Indian history. They gave us a lot of information and the achievement of national leaders and historical personalities. Historical buildings like St. Francis Church at Cochin, St. Louis Fort at Pondicherry, St. George Fort in Madras, St. David Fort in Kudalur, India Gate, Parliament House, President House in New Delhi, etc. are different styles and techniques of Indian architecture. Other subjects and materials of religious, cultural and historical value are collected and preserved in museums. So these buildings are the evidence of Indian architecture which is followed before. So this museum help us to preserve and promote our cultural heritage. The National Museum in Delhi is the largest museum in India, which was established in the year of 1949. Coins are a good source to know about administrative history. The first coinage in modern India under the crown was issued in 1862. Edward VII ascended after Queen Victoria, and the coins issued by him bore his model. The Reserve Bank of India was formally set up in the year of 1935 and was empowered to issue Government of India notes. The first paper currency issued by RBI in the year of January 1938 was 5 rupee notes bearing the portrait of King George VI. So coins are a good source to know about the administrative history. நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும்ல, நம்மளுக்கு வந்து இப்போ ரீசெண்டாக நம்மளுக்கு வந்து வந்த காயின்ஸ்க்கும் முன்னாடி இது பண்ண காயின்ஸ்க்கும் நிறைய டிஃப்ரென்சஸ் இருக்கும், நம்ம பார்த்துருக்கோம் இல்லையா. ஸோ ரிசர்வ் பேங்க் வந்து 1935 தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ப்ரிப்பேர் ஆயிருக்காங்க. ஸோ அவங்க பிரிண்ட் பண்ண ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பேப்பர் கரன்சி என்ன அப்படின்னா 5 rupees நோட். அதில் யாரை போர்ட்ரைட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க அப்படின்னா கிங் ஜார்ஜ் VI போர்ட்ரைட் பண்ணி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நோட் அவங்க வச்சுருக்காங்க. ஓகே. Advent of the Europeans. After the capture of Constantinople by the Turks in AD 1453, the land route between India and Europe was closed. The Turks penetrated into North Africa and the Balkan Peninsula. It became imperative on the part of the European nations to discover new sea routes to the east. So என்னாச்சு, டர்க்ஸ் வந்து நார்த் ஆஃப்ரிக்காலையும் பால்கன் பெனிசுலாலையும் போக ஆரம்பித்தாங்க. ஸோ அதனால் அவங்க வந்து ஒரு சீ ரூட் புதுசாக கண்டுபிடிக்க ஆரம்பித்தாங்க. போர்ச்சுகல். Among the entire European nations, Portugal was the foremost to make a dynamic attempt to discover a sea route to India. Prince Henry of Portugal, who is commonly known as the Navigator, encouraged his countrymen to take up the adventurous life of exploring the unknown regions of the world. Bartolomeu Dias, a Portuguese sailor, reached the southernmost point of Africa in 1487. He was patronized by the King John II. So Portugal people is the first person to find a sea route to India. Prince Henry of Portugal is known as a navigator. He encouraged his Portuguese people to take up the adventurous life of exploring unknown regions. ஸோ தெரியாத ரீஜன்ஸ்லாம் நம்ம தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். ஸோ நம்ம வந்து சீ ரூட் கண்டுபிடிச்சி நம்ம வேறு இதுக்கு நம்ம போகணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி என்கரேஜ் பண்ணுறது யார்? பிரின்ஸ் ஹென்ரி ஆஃப் போர்ச்சுகல். Bartolomeu Dias, a Portuguese sailor, reached the southernmost point of Africa in 1487. So he reached the southernmost point of Africa in 1487, was supported by the King John II.